It's an unpopular opinion, but Fortnite is dying. Fortnite is a game that needs no introduction. It has become a cultural phenomenon due to its free-to-play structure and approachability that attracts people of all ages. Despite its cartoony appearance, which is clearly directed at kids, professional sports players and contemporary icons like Drake have publicly played or admitted to playing the game. The Red Sox are addicted to it, kids can't stop playing it, parents are paying for lessons, and everyone who doesn't live under a rock has heard of it. So, how is it dying? Fortnite and Battle Royale are inherently flawed. Let's start with the obvious. A single game has a whole lot of this, and only a little bit of this. Even though Fortnite has a smaller map than PUBG, it is still pretty normal to go almost an entire match without seeing an enemy. Compare this level of excitement to this. Unless you land at Tilted Towers, you would probably only see 3 to 5 other groups or players in a round, and most of your games are going to be boring. When you do finally find someone, if you don't immediately kill them, they will build a gigantic fucking random labyrinth to delay their inevitable death long enough for you to either leave or die in the storm with them. Most of the people that play Fortnite suck at building strategically and simply waste their resources and stalemate every battle in a feeble attempt to gain the higher ground. The building mechanic is what originally made Fortnite unique, but it has evolved into an annoying waste of time for everyone. Unless someone has an unbalanced weapon, like, say, a rocket launcher. Despite nerfs and changes, rocket launchers and grenade launchers are still extremely overpowered in the hands of most experienced gamers. They enable the enemy to completely overwhelm you, and you have no choice but to continue building until they run out of rockets or you run out of materials. Before the 12 rocket cap, if you or your team had a rocket launcher, you had a 98.6% chance of victory. Fortnite has had tons of other weapons balance issues too. The P90 guided missiles and drum guns were way too powerful on release, while vending machines and SMGs were mostly useless until midway through Season 5. There have been an enormous amount of changes to the balance of the game, and it's still not balanced. If you do kill someone, it is satisfying, and winning feels even better. But winning is still not more satisfying than losing is frustrating. The longer you play Fortnite, the more bored and frustrated you get, even in the unlikely event that you are winning a lot. But realistically, you are much more likely to lose. Unless you're a moron or a sick fuck who likes shooting monkeys in a barrel, the most satisfying difficulty of any game is where you have to dig deep and concentrate intensely on your own knowledge, skills, and reflexes, and you still just squeak by with 5 HP. For sane people, shitting on kids and getting absolutely owned yourself is not fun for very long. An evenly matched battle where you both have 2 HP and you miss that last shot and die is almost as thrilling as the battle where you hit the shot and survive. This is why most multiplayer games constantly try to put you in a place where you have a 50 to 55% win ratio so that your games are challenging and your time isn't wasted playing against scrubs or professionals. Fortnite doesn't do this. You're matched up completely randomly and see a huge variety of skill levels in your games. There's absolutely no reason that this moron should be matched up with this animal. Epic has announced some sort of ranking system for the future, but even this won't solve the biggest issue that all Battle Royale games have: gambling. Your ability to compete in matches depends on your weapons and loot. Your weapons and loot are completely random. Generally, there are 2 strategies. The first is to land in an isolated place with a small amount of loot. There are few loot spots and thus a very small chance that you'll be properly equipped for a fight. But since few players land in isolated areas, the loot will probably be yours for the keeping. The other strategy is to land in a dense area where loot is more abundant, but you are much more likely to be shotgunned in the face before you find anything useful. The problem is exacerbated in Fortnite by the fact that the weapons have different tiers, common through legendary. Not only can people with a different weapon have an advantage, but thanks to those tiers, someone with the same weapon can have an advantage if theirs is rated higher. The whole game is a gamble. Better reaction time, aiming, and game knowledge increases your chance of winning, but unlike a truly competitive game, the worst players still have a shot at beating out the best players, and no engagements are fair. There are many examples of games that are more competitive than Fortnite. These games usually involve much more than just mechanics, and though not all of them are enjoyable to play, their elimination of randomness makes them better candidates for esports than Fortnite and PUBG. Battle Royale games will be successful as an esport or regular sport only when the UN picks 2 citizens from each country to Hunger Games it out for a lifetime supply of pita bread. The monotony of Battle Royale games is the last straw. You can land in the same place for a few games, and play almost the exact same game each time. In an hour of Fortnite, most of your time is spent running, mining materials, and looking around for enemies. Only a few minutes out of that hour will be actually fun stuff, and after a few months, the fun stuff isn't even that fun anymore. The real reason most people keep playing Fortnite is because they're addicted to the gambling and they're addicted to the grinding for a stupid emote or piece of loot that makes them feel better about the fact that they're wasting their life on a childish game. Epic knows this, so they structured their progression system to reward players with a ton of items, most of them shit, but occasionally something more desirable. They keep adding incentives for players to reach higher and higher tiers and levels in the hopes that people play the game more often. Even the colors in the game are bright and saturated, which are more visually captivating. Towards the end of the season, Epic attempts to create a narrative that keeps the attention of the gamers who aren't addicted by adding some mysterious in-game object. Yes, it's within the best interest of a video game company to have elements that keep gamers coming back. But Epic's implementation of addictive hooks in Fortnite is just downright dirty abuse of the tendencies of the human mind. Fortnite came along at the perfect time for Epic. There had been a lull in good AAA multiplayer games for the general audience. For this general audience, Overwatch was too involved, Destiny was too grindy, World War II games were tired and repetitive, Battlefront was plagued with controversy, and a string of shitty Call of Duty games were completely unplayable. They piggybacked off of the Battle Royale hype and abused the free-to-play, microtransaction-saturated game model to make a killing from the credit cards of parents with middle schoolers. And like most free games, Fortnite is gonna die. Remember RuneScape? Paragon? Dawngate? Battle Royale games are plagued with unsolvable issues. Similar to zombie games, games with jetpacks, and good multiplayer games that have decent campaigns, Battle Royale is a trend that will die off. For now, Fortnite's a fine game for talking with friends and mindlessly passing the time. But as new, promising multiplayer games come out like Black Ops 4, Red Dead 2, and Anthem, the core of Fortnite's audience will realize their addiction and leave the game to play something less random, something that takes real skill, or something that is actually truly fun. Fortnite is at its peak, and the decline is rapidly approaching. Before the year 2020, Fortnite will be dead.